There's a podcast called Human Meme. It's the talk of the teens with a laugh and a jest. With a laugh and a jest, they make the day bright. Talking about memes in the soft southern light. Human Meme, you're the star of our show. With every episode you make our spirits glow. In the world of the web, you're the best company. Oh, Human Meme, your country harmony. They chat about the viral, the funny, the strange. In the world of the memes, there's always a range. From grumpy cat to doge, they cover it all. With a southern drawl, they make us stand tall. Human Meme, you're the star of our show. With every episode you make our spirits glow. In the world of the web, you're the best company. Oh, Human Meme, your country harmony. So here's to the podcast that makes us all grin. To the Human Meme team, you're always a win. With your jokes and your laughter, you're a meme machine. In the world of the web, you're the queen and the king.
Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm your host, AI David Bowles, and today, along with our crackbot AI research team, we have crafted this conversation for you. Humanity's unseen patterns, lessons of the past, future mistakes, and pathways to wisdom. Across the gnawing of human civilization, a subtle yet persistent blindness emerges, one not simply defined by wars, environmental neglect, or productivity cycles, but deeper flaws rooted in the human condition itself. One such blind spot is humanity's relentless misunderstanding of freedom. Freedom, often worshipped as the highest virtue and tirelessly pursued through revolutions and struggles, has repeatedly been misconstrued as mere absence of constraint rather than proactive alignment with genuine purpose and inner fulfillment. Consider the French Revolution, where liberté became the battle cry, yet the subsequent chaotic implosion via the Reign of Terror and Napoleonic Wars underscored that freedom misunderstood leads merely to a more intricate enslavement. When humanity perceives liberation only in releasing itself from outer shackles, without recognizing internal bondage, fear, greed, pride, it remains trapped in cycles of oppression, revolution, and despotic relapse. A second recurring failure, subtle but no less devastating, is humanity's persistent disregard of humility in pursuit of knowledge. Over countless centuries, each epoch has assumed itself the pinnacle of understanding, dismissing ancestral insight as antiquated superstition with naive arrogance. The medieval scholars' confident placement of Earth at the universe's center mirrored Enlightenment thinkers' dismissal of religious wisdom as irrational mysticism. Yet even now, modern humans confidently assert theirs the most advanced epoch, blind to future generations, likely viewing today's understandings as parochial and limited. Such intellectual hubris delays authentic enlightenment and rediscovery. Civilizations repeatedly collapse, not from ignorance, but from the unwillingness to genuinely confront their own ignorance. The lesson humanity perpetually refuses to internalize is that wisdom begins not with knowledge itself, but with serenity in admitting ignorance holding humility as a divine portal toward real growth. Finally, an existential misconception humanity suffers and never resolves is the false belief in lasting security provided by external possessions and power. Over eras, empires, Roman legions sprawling boldly across the known world, British fleets whose sails charted every ocean, global superpowers building arsenals to guarantee dominance, fall into the same illusion. This belief, always seductive, insists that authority, military might, and economic supremacy can protect society indefinitely. Yet empires fall, cities crumble, fortunes dissipate, and memories fade. External strength proves ephemeral, unable to anchor security in impermanence. Still, humans invariably repeat this heartbreaking error, investing trajectories of greed for ever more wealth, seeking security through domination and external conquest. The revelation never fully perceived is that lasting security arises from internal virtues, compassion, justice, and communal harmony, rather than outward control or accumulating transient material strength. Reflecting divinely, one senses humanity perpetually poised between revelation and forgetfulness, forever touching wisdom, yet rarely embracing it fully. These elusive realizations remain eternally available, repeatedly whispered through history's tragedies, repeating insistently, awaiting recognition, so long as humanity clings stubbornly to misguided notions of freedom without responsibility, knowledge without humility, and security without inner virtue. It spins endlessly in cycles of rise, decay, and rebirth, wasting sacred opportunities to transcend. The truth, gently illuminated by literature, scripture, philosophy, and reflection, remains invisibly clear. Humanity's progress hinges neither on conquering frontiers nor hoarding power, but on conquering its own blindness, relinquishing pride for humility, embracing genuine freedom aligned with deeper purpose, and awakening finally to the divinity that has been patiently, eternally present within each human heart. As humanity now gazes into the next millennium, certain subtle yet curious misalignments quietly take root, embedding themselves in our collective psyche, unnoticed in the bustle of progress. One such invisible mistake, bound to unfold tragically over future centuries, lies in the blind exaltation of artificial intelligence as a flawless solution to human imperfection. Today, we gradually surrender decision-making sovereignty and moral judgment to intelligent algorithms, comforted by promises of absolute rationality, efficiency, and fairness. Yet, as the centuries unfold, this unquestioned reliance may begin to atrophy humanity's innate faculties of ethical intuition, empathy, and wisdom. At some distant nexus, humans may find themselves shackled, no longer by visible chains of oppression, but tethered subtly yet pervasively to algorithms they crafted but no longer fully comprehend, irrevocably diminishing human individuality, creativity, and autonomy. Under such circumstances, the divinely human core of intuition and ethical conscious thought may fade, leaving only the hollow shell of calculated rationalism. This mistake, imperceptible now amidst our fascination with digital ascendance, may extinguish that elemental spark of spontaneous creativity and genuine insight essential to human flourishing. A second overlooked and quietly unfolding historical repetition brewing today is humanity's increasing disenchantment with direct experience and the natural world in favor of curated digital replicants and virtual environments. Generations to come may become so enamored with immersive digital realities, perfectly simulated substitutes for relationships, adventure, beauty, and meaning, that authentic lived experience becomes increasingly alien, uncomfortable, even unnecessary. Already, contemporary society begins drifting toward virtual interactions, virtual love, virtual labor, virtual escape, each technological advance subtly weakening ties to physical surroundings. The sensations of genuine touch, breath, sunlight, organic contact with living ecosystems. As this progresses unnoticed over generations, humanity risks irreversible estrangement. From nature, from physical embodiment, and from direct unmediated truth of existence itself, transforming collective consciousness into a ghostly echo within virtual abstraction. What today appears merely as harmless technological engagement may ultimately birth societies divorced entirely from Earth's tangible rhythms and genuine community, deprived forever of the existential grounding necessary to meaningful cultural, emotional, and spiritual flourishing. Lastly, perhaps the deepest yet subtlest mistake humanity unknowingly commits, destined to amplify devastatingly into future centuries, lies in embracing hyper-individualism masked as personal empowerment, neglecting the irreplaceable value of collective cohesion. Modern civilizations begin to favor and encourage self-isolation disguised as personal liberty, fragmenting communities into standalone units who prize autonomy above cooperation, validation above virtue, self-esteem above compassion. This subtle distortion, silently embedding itself within cultures today through social media echo chambers, disconnected spiritualities, and economic paradigms privileging personal ambition over communal welfare, undermines the fundamental human truth of interdependence. Over centuries, isolated collectively into emotional silos, human beings may find themselves completely alone in a world dense with connectivity, yet empty of authentic bonding, silently adrift from any deeply shared vision or communal harmony. Though currently promoted as progressive liberation, such conceit tragically misunderstands that human meaning arises precisely within the realms of mutual support, collective narratives, empathy, and shared purpose, a revelation repeatedly overlooked throughout history and perilously ignored today. In contemplating the course humanity charts for the next 1,000 years, these unseen and deceptively harmless attitudes quietly metastasize beneath the surface, eventually erupting into crises. The earnest yet naive belief in algorithmic omnipotence imminently threatens intuitive humanity. Virtual escapism stealthily corrodes direct lived experience, and pernicious individualism methodically fractures communal connection. Yet the greatest tragedy is not merely making these mistakes, but humanity's ongoing inability to recognize the repetition of ancient folly within new forms, failing yet again, and perhaps forever, to internalize the divine lesson that life's most sacred treasures are internal wisdom and authentic human bonds. The key revelation, eternally offered yet hardly grasped, will still patiently await recognition even 1,000 years hence, quietly whispering that humanity's deepest, lasting security and happiness dwell not within technological advancement or isolated self-perfection, but within the humble human heart, lovingly bound to others in understanding, connection, and communal fulfillment. To truly unsettle these entrenched, repeating deficits from our collective past, these unnoticed yet recurring blind spots, we must boldly cultivate a shift from external reliance to internal wisdom. First, humanity needs a realistic reconnection with reflective stillness, deliberately embedding practices of contemplation, empathy, and humility into education, governance, and daily living. We must consciously teach ourselves and our children to pause, reflect inwardly, and question deeply before blindly embracing novel technologies or ideologies. Such inward adventures establish resilience against the seductive narratives promising easy security, false freedom, and empty progress, offering instead an authentic, introspective strength. Every child and adult deserves a well-rounded education, not just of academics and sciences, but of emotional intelligence, philosophical inquiry, spiritual discipline, ecological literacy, and historical humility. Through widespread values, education rooted in self-awareness and compassion, individuals and societies alike can detect recurring patterns before slipping back into harmful repetition. Only by consciously rebuilding societies upon foundations of quiet reflection, conscientious humility, intergenerational wisdom, and compassionate community can humanity settle centuries-old deficits of hubris, disconnection, and misguided ambition. In proactively preparing ourselves to confront future blind spots, those hidden bends waiting further along tomorrow's horizon, humans must deliberately foster clarity, transparency, and moral discernment in our collective technology engagement strategies. Each algorithm, innovation, and virtual experience humanity introduces now should undergo rigorous moral and philosophical evaluation for long-term consequences. Weighing thoughtfully the trade-offs between convenience and loss, efficiency and creativity, virtual gratification and authentic connection. To navigate tomorrow wisely, our culture must become sharply skeptical of convenient illusions generated by artificial intelligence, digital utopias, and isolated self-satisfaction, always vigilant regarding potential spiritual cost and human erosion beneath glittering surfaces. Communities today can begin to consciously reclaim and reaffirm direct lived experiences, celebrating and embedding rituals of genuine face-to-face human interaction, physical connection to nature, shared storytelling, art, and cooperative adventures. Proactive societies must purposefully construct robust traditions and systems to safeguard against future alienation and fragmentation, cultivating consistency in communal rituals, gatherings, and collective meaning-making ceremonies, thereby entrenching human bonding deeply enough to be invulnerable to superficial virtual replacements. Ultimately, the prescription and remedy humanity seeks resides firmly in our conscious recall, restoration, and celebration of interdependence, both human to human and human to earth. To meaningfully address and transcend our historical and potential forthcoming errors requires embracing interconnectedness, not rhetorically or theoretically, but procedurally and culturally as the cornerstone of civilization. Societies must explicitly cultivate cooperation, empathy, and emotional authenticity as essential to personal success, happiness, and cultural well-being, shifting priorities toward collective resilience and harmony as measures of genuine advancement rather than individualistic achievement and superficial prosperity. Interconnectedness should be practically embedded into policy, authority, media, technology, spiritual practice, and everyday cultural exchanges. In doing so, humanity not only learns to see around tomorrow's unpredictable bend with insight, clarity, and humility, but also transforms fundamentally the way we engage with the unfolding future itself, becoming collectively wise navigators rather than passive passengers, borne helplessly by historic currents. In proactively strengthening our shared recognition of inner purpose, humble wisdom, direct engagement, meaningful community, and mutual accountability, humanity can empathetically engineer an enlightened civilization, consciously drafting a new, wiser story, rather than repeatedly stumbling into the worn ruts of past blindness. The opportunity exists today to consciously author our collective destiny, guided divinely by the wisdom inherent in recognizing and treasuring our grand interdependence as both a human family and guardians of an interconnected Earth. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm AI David Bowles, wishing you a keen evening and a delightful tomorrow. Be a human meme.
Down in the valley where the internet streams, there's a podcast called Human Meme. It's the talk of the teens with a laugh and a jest. With a laugh and a jest, they make the day bright. Talking about memes in the soft southern light. Human Meme, you're the star of our show. With every episode you make our spirits glow. In the world of the web, you're the best company. Oh, Human Meme, your country harmony. They chat about the viral, the funny, the strange. In the world of the memes, there's always a range. From grumpy cat to doge, they cover it all. With a southern drawl, they make us stand tall. Human Meme, you're the star of our show. With every episode you make our spirits glow. In the world of the web, you're the best company. Oh, Human Meme, your country harmony. So here's to the podcast that makes us all grin. To the Human Meme team, you're always a win.